Hi, my name is Jacob Rodriguez. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to allow me to present my project on forecasting seasonal pharmaceutical ATC sales. To give you a brief introduction, most of our pharmaceuticals are manufactured overseas, mainly in China, India, and Mexico. In the last decade, the US has relied mainly on China for their pharmaceuticals due to outsourcing. In 2008, there was a heparin contamination which led to many deaths of Americans who relied on this anticoagulant drug. In the past few years, there have also been many recalls for blood pressure medications due to contamination from manufacturers in China and India with chemicals that cause cancer. This caused the United States to reinvest in making pharmaceuticals back in the US, which could also cause drug prices to go up even more. Here is a simple workflow of a complex ecosystem of the manufacturing of drugs and distribution to the pharmacies. First, the manufacturers ship the products to the distribution warehouses. Then the distributors consolidate the orders. Next, the distributors package the totes containing products to different pharmacies. Sometimes these totes can be returned to the distributors if there are too many products, and this may result in disposing the products, which can be costly. Lastly, the pharmacies receive the drugs and are ready for the patients. Oftentimes, if the drugs are overstocked in the pharmacies, they are sent back to the distributor to be resold or disposed, which can also be costly. So, the benefits of forecasting drug sales. Despite the complexity of pharmaceutical ecosystem, sales forecasting may be an essential and cost-effective way to predict drug sales to manage inventory, increase in competition, and manage around FDA regulations for packaging and advertising. Historically, forecasting has been developed by researching and making assumptions for your own product, but with more access to large amounts of data and powerful forecasting methods, it is becoming increasingly useful. If done correctly with precision and accuracy, forecasting can cut the cost of distribution, cut the cost of raw materials, maintain inventory due to shelf life of the drugs, approve the drugs, and marketing of the drugs. Forecasting may be challenging due to many variables such as regions, certain populations, types of diseases, age, etc. However, we will be forecasting time series models for daily, weekly, monthly in order to understand the seasonality, as it is a practical way to determine cycles or any trends of ATC pharmaceutical drug sales on a small scale. Through this, we will be using the Riemann profit methods. We will be able to determine the forecasted sales of drugs class based on mean squared error and mean absolute error. If these values are high, it will tell us that there is a lot of variance. But before forecasting the sales, exploring and close examination of the data sets through statistical analysis will be performed. So the data we have here is from an open source project, Kaggle, which consists of 600,000 transactions of drug sales collected between 2014 and 2019. These particular drugs are classified as anatomical therapeutic chemicals, which are anti-inflammatory, non-steroids, antipyretics, psycholeptics, sedatives, and so on. There are 3 data sets in each CSV file, which consists of the daily sales, weekly sales, and monthly sales. The attributes in each file consist of the following. For weekly and monthly sales, the first column is the date of the purchased drugs, as seen in Table 1. The rest of the columns may include the classification of the drug, which values the representation of the average sales of each drug based on the date. The second table represents the daily sales file, which is similar to the weekly and monthly sales, except an additional year, month, hour, and weekday attributes are also included. So some assumptions that we can make. We can assume that the data sets are accurate with the number of sales purchased at real time and have no missing values. Additionally, after exploring the data from 2014 to 2019, it was determined that the top 3 ATC drug sales were NO2-BE, NO5B, and RO3. Based off these values, we cannot determine why they are purchased the most. However, as we try to understand the data more, based off this distribution in daily average sales, we see that there is a spike for certain drugs than other in given number of days. Some variables that may affect the ATC drug sales may include regions, locations, where the drugs were sold, certain populations based on sex, ethnicity, types of diseases, seasonality, and so on. Requirements. To carry out this project effectively, a mid-level data scientist and supply chain analyst will be hired to execute and carry out complex forecasting models. The scientists and analysts must research and develop scientifically sound forecasting models based on literature, experts, and case studies like this project. Open source projects should not be used unless it is derived from literature and verified by experts, as well as must be regulated. Several forecasting models should be implemented so that they may be verified, or the best one should be picked depending on the results. Using only one model can result in inaccurate results or false conclusions. The project shall be completed by October 2021 to prepare for the next year of January 2022. This will allow the distribution center to prepare and consolidate with pharmacies in order to minimize the cost and impact of production constraints with manufacturers for the following year. Constraints. According to Rick Johnson, a senior software engineer at IQVIA, forecasting models should focus on patients rather than the price, as these factors may include the start of the patient using the drugs, the time frame of staying on therapeutic drugs, demographics, and any trends among regions or populations. Although these factors might benefit the pharmaceutical companies gaining data such as patients' drug usage record, time frame using the drug may face ethical issues in terms of relationship with the patient and the healthcare system. If we consider these factors into the model, it may lead to more accurate and precise measurements. In the meantime, some constraints for small-scale forecasting for short-term or long-term may not determine accuracy due to other rising diseases or seasonal diseases which could fluctuate sales of other drugs instead. History shows as technology advances, so does research and development. Better therapeutic drugs could come to the market in the following year. This may also be followed in price cuts or price increases depending on health insurance changes, demand of the drug manufacturing process changes, and supply of raw materials. Furthermore, we will be using these forecasting models to understand other trends of ATC pharmaceutical sales. By using these forecasting models, this approach is feasible, and the results can be used to create new strategies of cutting the costs from manufacturers, distribution centers, and drug prices of pharmacies. The precision of this research and development may be significantly enhanced with your help by expanding to large scale, allocating more time to develop new models, and collect more data to include other variables. Let us bring back pharmaceutical manufacturing back to the US. Thank you.